So after looking back at last year's offerings from Apple, I kept thinking of one iPhone that nobody's thinking of, and that iPhone is basically the iPhone 14 Plus. Why didn't anyone pretty much like this iPhone? Now I get that there's people who were using this iPhone. Clearly this iPhone still sold something, like it still sold some numbers, but as a whole, in every forum I've read on, from everything that I've ever seen, I don't really see anybody not only talking about the iPhone 14 Plus, but realistically speaking, getting excited or being excited about the next iPhone Plus, which is the 15 Plus. It seems like this iPhone is probably completely irrelevant, and it makes me think, why doesn't anyone like this iPhone? And I think I have an answer to this. Essentially, when we take a look at all the offerings from Apple, the more expensive iPhones, the Pro and Pro Maxes, we noticed were actually fairly popular this year. And that was something that was really cool. Apple was going through, they were able to sell an iPhone that people wanted, and it was more expensive, so Apple could make more money. So I guess that's one big thing going for it. But I think the reason why the 14 Plus didn't really sell that well was probably due to, if you think about it, the price tag. At $899, that iPhone is just way too close to the main flagship, the main line build, which is the, iPhone 14 Pro, that it just doesn't make any sense at all to go ahead and buy something like an iPhone, 14 Plus. Like, what would be the point of that? You are much better off buying something like an iPhone, 14 Pro at that point, because the 14 Plus just isn't really at that caliber of being that next line, next phone for you. If you're coming from an iPhone 13 or an iPhone 13 Pro Max or any of those iPhones, the 14 Plus is kind of like either the same thing or it's like a bigger version of the same thing. And when you look at the mini phone, that was a cheaper iPhone than the iPhone 14. So I would kind of think that if it wasn't for the price tag being what it was, I think a lot more people would have probably ended up buying something like the iPhone 14 Plus. But notoriously, if you take a look at the Plus phones before, the iPhone 6 Plus, the 6S Plus, the 7 Plus, the 8 Plus, those were never like the best selling iPhones of those years. And most of the time, whenever Apple would go ahead and release those sales numbers, from what I believe, they would actually just clump up the Plus and the standard phone together. So you wouldn't even really know which one sold more. I would probably argue that the Plus phone was very much an acquired taste. Now, on top of that, I think bigger phones just aren't as popular as smaller phones. I'm sure if you look at the sales numbers between the Pro and the Pro Maxes, I'm sure the Pros always sell more, but it's still something to kind of think about, that in this day and age, when you are getting something like a, iPhone 14 Plus, you're kind of getting a phone that nobody really wanted, which is very interesting. But it's mostly probably due to the price tag, but it's also probably due to the size of that phone as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.